Good evening. Welcome to the regular January school board meeting. We appreciate you all being here with us this evening. I know it's cold. I know that there's still some black ice out there, so I would like to move things along in a timely fashion so that we can all get home safely and be with our families. We would like to welcome any visitors that are joining us at home or here. Thank you for being here. We're going to have the pledge and the invocation. Mr. Williamson, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for a new year that you've blessed us to see. We feel fortunate that you have given us the health and strength to have a new start. Thank you for your grace and allowing us to start over, to be better, to do so many things that we didn't do last year. We prayed tonight, special in silence, for the people of California, devastated by the fires, those that lost their lives, their livelihood, all the property they own. And we bless you because you covered us again in the state. You blessed us to be safe. And for that, we give you thanks. We thank you even for the cold weather, because even it has a purpose. And now, God, as we come, we pray that you continue to bless our community, bless our new city council. God, continue to bless this board, that we would do things that would add to and increase the welfare of our young people, our precious resource. Now, God, bless this meeting. Let this meeting be for your purpose. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, registered speakers. Ms. Smith, do we have any? All right. I'm going to move on to awards and recognitions. We were going to recognize some of our students this evening. We're going to push that back to next month so that they didn't have to come out when they didn't have school today. We will still be recognizing Miss Williams. We were very fortunate, come on up, to be at the Boys and Girls Club annual gala, and at that time they recognized, and it was a surprise, I believe, to Miss Williams, who the principal of the year was for the Blue Ridge District. And we are very proud to say it's Miss Williams and one of our very own, and we are very proud of her. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, it was quite a surprise. They got me real good. But it is certainly a pleasure to work with Boys and Girls Club. I have been, well, actually, we all worked together to establish the Boys and Girls program at Clearview several years ago, and it has just been such a blessing to have that program there, to be able to help so many families, to have after-school care. So it just made our program a complete program, just kind of a complete wraparound service. So I'm extremely proud to work with Boys and Girls Club and to be named their first Principal of the Year. That was quite an honor, and it's nothing that Boys and Girls Club has my heart, and I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't do. Even if I wasn't the principal, I'm always going to advocate for them because they helped me. My husband always worked out of town, and my daughter needed somewhere to go after school and during the summer months, and I've always worked 12 months. So it was such a blessing to my family. So we are living proof that Boys and Girls Club is a phenomenal program, and we're so proud to be able to work with them.
Thank you. We're very proud of you.
We're proud. Congratulations.
This evening, we need to hear about the school improvement plans for all of our schools. Did not mean to leave Ms. Cooper's school off of here, so we'll do you after How about if we do both the elementary schools together? We'll do Dr. Brown first, then Ms. Cooper. Is that okay? All right, and I'm sorry that was left off the agenda. That's my oversight. We'll start with Renee Brown, and then we'll roll right through all the schools, if that's okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We're here to present Albert Harris Elementary School's Comprehensive School Improvement Plan for the 2024-2025 school year. Currently, our school is accredited. However, if you would notice, we do have a red in science. Science tends to be the one subject that we haven't mastered yet, but we're working diligently so that the next time we stand up here, we'll have either a yellow or a green in science. Okay, Albert Harris Elementary School's combined achievement. In reading overall, we had a 77. In math, we had a 79. And then there's science with the 63, which we're going to bring that up. Okay, Albert Harris Elementary School achievement gaps in reading. Our Black students performed at 71%. Our economically disadvantaged performed at 74%. Our English language learners performed at 97%. Our Hispanic students performed at 97%. Our multi-race students performed at 72%. Our students with disabilities performed at 66%. And our white students performed at 85%. Our achievement gap in math was as follows. Our Black students performed at 77%. Our economically disadvantaged children performed at 78%. Our English language learners performed at 100%. Our Hispanic students performed at 97%. Our multi-race students at 56%. Our students with disabilities at 58%. And our white students at 79%. Our measurable goals for both ELA, reading, and math by the end of the 2024-2025 academic school year, at least 100% of Albert Harris Elementary students will achieve proficient or advanced scores on the reading and math standards of learning. In our reading, we're going to provide additional focus on our Black students and our students with disabilities. And in math, we're going to have an additional focus on our multi-race and our students with disabilities. And I always put 100% because I learned in a conference that if you put less than 100%, well, whose student are you preparing for failure? So that's why I have 100%. Science, by the end of the 2024-2025 academic school year, we will have at least 100% of Albert Harris Elementary students achieving proficient or advanced scores on the science standards of learning assessment. And our goal for chronic absenteeism is to reduce that rate by 10%. Our action steps, and I'm going to say for both reading and math, are somewhat the same. We're going to ensure that lesson plans and assessments are aligned with the curriculum framework by monitoring and providing feedback on a weekly basis through collaborative and data meetings. We're going to provide differentiation of instruction daily through small group instruction and individualized instruction. We're going to monitor with co-teaching and push-in services and differentiation of instructions through observations, lesson plans, collaborations, and data meetings with attendance. Also, I did put another bullet in here this particular year. Our special education staff will and have received additional professional development on the implementation and monitoring of the evidence-based intervention strategies during differentiated instruction by the division in coordination with the special education personnel and division leaders. And we're going to utilize all-in tutoring for reading, which is Alexia in grades 3 through 5, and all-in tutoring, which is Zern for math in grades 3 through 5. You can see that. Okay, our action steps for science. are as follows. We're gonna monitor and ensure that science instruction is aligned with the curriculum framework in grades K through 5. We're gonna monitor co-teaching, push-in services, and differentiation of instruction through observations, lesson plans, collaboration, and data meetings. We're going to increase academic time and frequency of science lessons, which we have done, but we are concentrating a little bit more with science. And fortunately, our new curriculum in reading have a lot of science passages. So really they're double dipping and triple dipping with our science. Our teachers will and have started collaborating with our STEM teacher to align STEM lessons with core lessons in the classroom within the science curriculum framework. We are ensuring that lesson plans and assessments are aligned with the curriculum framework in grades 4 and 5, but we do that consistently throughout grades K through 5. We have and we're going to continue to increase hands-on application in science utilizing the initiatives and the STEM lab, and we are monitoring science data in all subgroups. Okay, our action steps for our chronic absenteeism. We're going to continue sending attendance letters to students' parents following the Martinsville City public school policy. We have our letters sent out. Then after 5 absences, we have a plan of action. Then after 7 absences, we utilize and I said truancy committee, but it's a new form committee that they use to help all schools, that we're using now to help all schools reduce truancy. We're going to have our school resource officer to conduct wellness checks and wellness checks for chronically absent students. We're utilizing our community partners and resources for intervention. We use our check-in and check-out plans for attendance. We have our clubs and other afternoon activities connected with attendance. If they don't attend school, then they can't participate because you need to be at school to get your regular lessons before you can do something extra. And also, we will continue to offer incentives for perfect attendance, such as attendance parties. We have pizza parties, popcorn parties, cookie parties, and movies. We have rewards and prizes. We have bicycle giveaways, and we have dojo flag for classroom attendance. And what I did not put on the PowerPoint is that we now have what we call Albert Harris Elementary School Prides. It's somewhat like the house program that Patrick Henry utilized. And with the prides, we are awarding prides for the least amount of absences as well as classrooms. In particular, the classroom had the least amount of absences, 3rd, 4th, 5th, first, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd. We do special things for them as well. Let's get my pictures. And I put some pictures on so that you can see a day in the life of Albert Harris Elementary students. Do you all have any questions?
Anyone?
Well, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You all have a good evening.
Shauna, do you have a problem to do Miss Cooper now since?
No.
Okay, Miss Cooper, come on up, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
All right, present to you Patrick Henry's Continuous School Improvement Plan for 24-25. Last year we were accredited with conditions, and that was due to we were last accredited conditions due to our pass rate in science. But this past school year we achieved a level 1 status for every single subgroup, which you'll see in a minute, and all of our academic testing areas of English, math, science, as well as chronic absenteeism. I don't have the data up for chronic absenteeism in my next few slides, but just to let you know, at the end of last year, you need to be under 15% to be at a level 1. We ended at a 9.54, and as it stands right now, we're at a 7.45% for chronic absenteeism. The lower you get, the better. So we're continuing to provide the strategies and utilize those incentives we have in place for that. So those continue to work, so we'll continue to use those. Next slide. This just shows the progression for English and math over the past 3 years. You can see the overall pass rate for English was a 79 2 years ago, then 80, and then 82, so a steady upward tick on that. And then with math, we were at 83 2 years ago. We dropped down, but then we're back up to where we were, so we were pleased with that progression as well. And then for science, this is our most dramatic increase. If you recall, I just said a moment ago, we were credited with conditions because of our previous pass rate in science in 2023, which was 46%. But in the spring of this year, we achieved a 70% pass rate. That is attributed to a significant amount of work from a lot of people in the building. Our STEM teacher led the charge with a lot of work around academic vocabulary with 4th and 5th grade, because it can't just be done in 5th grade. And then we are doing more things with building stronger science instruction K-5. So it's not just focused on when we get to 4th grade on the content that's tested in 5th grade. We're building, scientific investigators throughout, so that when they are tasked with difficult questions, have to process different types of questions on the SOL test, they are prepared. But we have a strong 4th grade team that prepared the students last year, strong instruction in 5th grade, have the same thing happening again this year. So we look to increase that for this coming year. These are our subgroups, of which aren't going to be necessarily tracked like this anymore in this next accreditation accountability system. But that's where all of our subgroups were at a level 1, and every subgroup went up except for one subgroup in one subject last year. And so we were very proud about the work that we did, focusing on all of our students and meeting the needs that they had. This is just a snapshot of where we would fall under the new accountability system. It would show that we were on track, so anything 80 to an 89 in overall score, so we would be in the on track category. So continuing to move. Our goal is to be above that, at least at a 90 for this coming school year. So our goals is to work to increase our English pass rate from 82 to a 90% for the upcoming school year, and then math from an 83 to a 91, and all that's based upon the spring SOL testing, and then increase the science pass rate from a 70 to a 75. So under the new accreditation system, accountability system, you don't necessarily look at subgroups like we did under this old system, but we still want to track those students because we are a full Title I school. So we want to make sure that we track those student subgroups, of which affects our overall performance too. So we are continuing to monitor those students, provide them what they need, and you can see the goals we have for those particular subgroups. All this comes from us being administrators engaged with teachers, making sure that we're in weekly collaborative planning lessons, making sure we're using aligned resources, and providing what students need to make sure they're prepared for their assessments. A big piece for my staff and myself is students being very aware of their data. So students knowing what their data is, keeping up with their data notebooks, how their data impacts themselves, their class impacts the grade, and their grade impacts the school. So understanding how all that kind of just spirals together. So they keep up with their own notebooks with English and math and science. For math, we're continuing with things that we saw were successful in the past, which is our weekly collaborative planning, of which we have for English. Also, the use of hands-on resources. The state has not been very helpful to us in providing resources, so our division is doing all that we can to make sure we can provide teachers with what they need with the resources that we do have available to us. So really zeroing in on what students need, filling in gaps, and continuing to provide them with support and making sure that their instruction matches what they're going to see on the SOL test. And then for science, continuing, like I said a little bit ago, with the hands-on experiments and giving them that practice, so it's not just on paper, they're seeing things in real life. And it deals a lot with providing them with experiences. A lot of our students lack experiences of which then they can apply to questions that they see. And so making sure that they have that experience of which then they can use that information when they get to questions on any of the SOL tests. Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Waller.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Okay, this is our plan. I'm not going to read you the title. You've heard it twice. There are some great pictures of just things that I think is building relationships, and you can see the smiles on students and staff faces as well as hands-on. And that top picture is from one of the school bands, again, just incentive to try to have students that want to come to school. This was our data, where we finished that last school year. So we were at a level 1 for everything except science, as you keep hearing as a repeat. And our chronic absenteeism did fall from the year before from green to yellow. And you can see over on the side, those are the actual percentage numbers. So our English was at a 76, which was an increase from the year before, because the year before and the last 2 years, actually, we have been in yellow for science. So we did get that to a level 1. Math stayed at a level 1, but it did increase to an 82. And science was at 46. I see it was the same number for Patrick Henry. Maybe we'll have the same luck and be at 70. And chronic absenteeism was at a 20.96. Specifically looking just at reading, all of our subgroups was at a level 1 except for students with disabilities, which shows a level 2, but we did get to R-10, meaning we did reduce our failure rates by 10%. So again, the state looks at you have less students failing. And you can see at the bottom, I think Cameron and I was thinking like we showed the 3 years. So in 2022, we was at a 74, dipped down to a 69, but then last year we went back up to a 76. So even doing slightly a little bit higher than 2022. And those were the actual numbers for the achievement gap groups that you can see. So all of them were well above that, like I said, except for the students with disability, which the year before was like a 40-something. So it did go way up to a 62. But just continuing to monitor the students with disabilities as well as our Black students. But we just believe if we get the whole group, so not just focusing on one, students with disabilities do get pull out and push in. But we really feel like if that tier 1 instruction is good and you're doing overall great things for everyone in the class, if we pull everyone up, your subgroup pulls up too. And that was kind of our focus last year, because the year before we had other subgroups in the yellow, so we moved a lot of those to green. Math, as it has been for the last few years now, all of our subgroups are in level 1. This math has kind of been a strength. In 2022, it was at 92. 2023 dropped down to 79, which was still above the benchmark, but dropped down. And last year, we did get back up from that 79 to 82. And again, on the far side, you can see all the actual numbers for, and all of them being above. That's why it is a level 1. And these are our goals. We're going to focus on English and science so we can meet that state accountability. And hopefully, in English, even though it was green, we want to get that subgroup. Again, like I said, focusing on all, as Ms. Cooper has said, accountability won't be measured like that this year. But again, we still want to monitor that for federal reasons and others. So pulling everyone up. So we're still going to focus on that English and definitely have to get that science. We really need to get it to a green, and as you saw with Patrick Henry, it can go from red to green because we don't want to have 3 years of not being in level 1. Goal 2 is for us to decrease our students that are chronically absent and get that back to a level 1. And currently we are in level 1 status. We had DLT today, so we did get that 21 down. It went down, it's at 13 now. And goal 3 is aligned to the division to decrease the number of out-of-school suspensions by 10% from the previous year. Not going to read all these things to you, but some things that we are doing in science and reading some of those action steps to get there. As already been stated, monitor collaborative planning, viewing instructional delivery in the classroom, making sure in collaborative planning we have that shared common time so our SPED teachers and paras could sit in and make sure, again, that subgroup, as well as our EL, gets those modified lessons so they know beforehand, not wait until we get in the classroom to see what is going on. In science, using those 5 E's, using people from the division, central office. Cameron has already shared that the STEM teacher was very successful at her school, so she's come to our school and shared some of those things. We're doing some of those vocabulary strategies school-wide. On our announcements, we have a word of the week. It's always
from science, and then students, all students in the building, not just 8th grade where it's tested, is assessed on that word of the week, and then we do a drawing for whoever gets all the questions right. So just trying to make the learning fun, but make it stick. We're using the data to adjust tier 1 instruction. So if we see something's not working, we don't keep doing it, but trying something different, and to make it individualized for our students who are falling in that tier 2 and tier 3, so we can see the movement. And making sure all teachers really know their new standards. Standards are changing, so making sure they're using those instructional guides and the resources from the division and the ones that the state, the few that the state has split out, to support what they're creating, to make sure that the students can support their answers and feel comfortable in their work. And there's some other things there. Feel free to email it to you if you want to look more closely. For improving our student attendance, like Ms. Brown said, we are sending out the letters which is just following the policy of our division with attendance, sending out letters, communicating with parents, whether that's via phone calls. Sometimes they come in for conferences. Callie does a great job of posting reminders about attendance on social media, that importance. We also post that on our school announcements. And we notify students, parents every day when their student is out. They get a call, a robocall that says, hey, your child is not here. And we also let them know about upcoming breaks and the actual return date. We celebrate students with good attendance. We do the incentives too. We don't do bicycle giveaways, but we time to school-wide and grade level incentives. And we do have a drawing once a month for a little goodie doggy bag, since we're the Bulldogs. Also monitoring the students' attendance, documenting who's at 5 days, 7 days, and every 10 days, checking for chronic absenteeism, providing tier levels of support for families they do need. So sometimes that's a check-in, check-out mentor. Sometimes is we've had an SRO go out and get a kid when the parent's at work and can't. We don't try to do that all the time, but sometimes we do have to do that, and we do that. Providing communications in Spanish, because sometimes when we were sending those letters out saying we had families that could not read it, so making sure that we translate that so that they are aware of what's going on as well. And another thing, as the other schools said, just tying extracurricular, offering more. We're not a cheerleading squad, we're a nation. But again, a lot of those students last year were attendance issues, and now they're coming to school. So yes, it's a large squad, but we see it's making a difference. Band last year at 6th grade, we only had 1 section. This year we have 2 sections of band. So things are growing. Those are the things that for some of our students is why they come to school. And same thing with decreasing out of school suspensions. Having those surveys, we have those universal screeners, and making sure we're following up when we see students saying they have social and emotional needs. Communicating our PBIS school-wide expectations daily. We say every day what those rules are and just reinforcing. We have meetings with the PBIS team to review the data, where things are happening, what days of the week, what time. We also have that at the district level, and making action plans as needed. Again, assigning mentors. Incorporating SEL standards. We have PBIS lessons with the SEL standards, and teachers do teach that throughout the year, not just at the beginning. On Mondays, they are encouraged to check their grades, say how their weekend was. They do a writing. Then Friday, they have a reflection and set goals on Monday, see if they met them on Friday. And then implementing other alternatives. Sometimes before they get an office referral, we do what's an infraction sheet where we just document. And you might have a little conference with just your team, doing some restorative circles and letting them come and talk it out. Again, positive reinforcement. Counseling, whether it's from our school counselors or we do have support in the building. We have TDTs, National Counseling Group, Piedmont Caseload, as well as Piedmont United TDTs, and other alternatives before we suspend them. Internal school suspension, reset, silent lunch, those kind of things. Loss of privilege, you have to sit out half a game, trying to do things before we have to send the child home, because when they're at home, they're absent and not learning. And just effective communication with students and families, not just saying we communicated, but make sure that it's received and they responded back. And then we just, again, those extracurricular activities, because they know, for example, if you get suspended, you're off the team. So making them a part of something to hold them more accountable. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all. I want to talk just real briefly, but of course, have any questions I'd like to answer. The school accreditation model for the high school was explained to me and others in DLT meeting, and we're still getting some information about what that entails. But it's slightly different than what we've seen before. The accreditation model for the high school is dependent upon the graduating cohort, how well they did in SOLs, how well they're doing in terms of their pass rates in SOLs, chronic absenteeism. Those things are still very much a part of what we're looking at. CTE in terms of, how many industry credentials did they receive. So our accreditation is contingent upon how well our graduating class performs. Now, of course, along the way, you have to know how well did your juniors do? How well are your 10th grade and 9th grade doing? Because if they're not doing well in the grades that they're currently in, at the grade level that they're currently in, then there's no way they're going to become seniors and as a cohort, be really successful. So the work that we're doing is two-pronged. You're looking at your senior class, knowing exactly what they need, and then you're also making sure that your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students are getting what they need, because they're not going to make it to be seniors if they're not getting what they need. So what I'll share with you today is just a little bit about what we're doing with our senior class, and then I'll give a brief overview of what we're doing with the other students in our school. So we decided that as a part of one of our goals is that we needed to get biology boosted up. Biology's been a sticking point. It's been a challenging area for us for quite some time. And so some of the things that we decided that we would do is use collaborative planning to ensure that we're aligned. And so we needed to talk. We need to talk about what's going on in the classroom. But before that, we need to plan and know what our instruction looks like before the teachers deliver it. Walkthroughs to monitor that we're doing what we agreed we would be doing, and then to make sure that we're teaching the content as the state has dictated, and we're teaching it to the level of rigor that it needs to be at. And so then a part of that, you progress monitor. So we got to make sure that we know how the students are performing. So when we give them assessments, knowing how the students are performing, and then sharing that with the students. At our grade level, the students are well aware of how they're doing. If you give them the information, they can then in turn help you with knowing what it is they know and learn. So, and then formative assessments, we're looking at that data to make sure that from that data we can, kind of guide our instruction and our lessons moving forward. So these are some of the individuals that are responsible, of course, building level administration, me, the administrative team, responsible for looking at our students and knowing how well they're doing in science. Some of the department chairs and teams and so forth and so on. So moving to the next slide. Okay, so how we're going to look at science instruction, walkthroughs to monitor instructional delivery, progress monitoring using formative assessment data. We did take SOLs in December. The SOLs in December weren't, and you have the data if you want it. Dr. Talley has the data. I won't discuss it because, of course, it's not official, and I don't think that's for public conversation. But we did better this fall than we did last fall. It's not where I'd like for us to be, but we have a game plan for how we're going to get them there. Luckily, our seniors and our students are serious, and we'll get them exactly where they need to be. By 2025, all students in the cohorts, by this cohort, reading, math, science, they're doing fairly well, but they've got some areas that they need to improve upon. So we've got students who we have specific plans for in reading, math, and science, and they've been getting specialized instruction, and they're going to continue to receive that. And so in this statement of need, by 2025, all students in the cohort of 2025 will earn their reading, math, science, and history. So these are some of the things that we're going to do. If you'll slide down. A, students will receive additional instruction and support to pass some of the CT assessments. So our CTE teachers are pulling seniors back in their classes. If they have electives and the teachers are willing, they're pulling those students back in to give them additional instruction so they can pass some of those industry credentials. The students will receive instruction in small groups. So the seniors have been receiving instruction in small groups in reading, science, and social studies, in mathematics. And then we're using SOL data to even get down to individualized instruction. So these are our needs. If you'll go to number 1 right here. We had 40 students, well, we had 40 students in August. We had somewhere around 40 students that needed a CTE credential, meaning they needed to pass like workplace readiness assessment. They needed to pass WISE financial literacy. They needed to pass something that the industry recognizes as, being ready and college prepared to some extent. So at this particular point in time, we're down to 18. So we have 18 students that we need to get something with. And that's from the work of the CTE teachers and our counseling staff to make sure that we stay abreast of what the students are needing. Number 2, students will receive instruction based on SOLs. And so at the beginning, we had 23 students who were needing some verified SOLs in math and, in English. And so I'm proud to say that we've increased that and we've gotten better in that regard as well. We do have some data and some results that we're still waiting on with some of this, but we are faring better than where we started. And then moving down to item number 3, SOL data for our math students. We've really been, doing exceedingly well in that regard. We had 9 students who were needing a math SOL test. So at this particular point, we have some students who just came to us. They transferred to us. And if I'm not, I think I'm pretty accurate on that. We probably have maybe like 3 or 4 students who are needing a math SOL at this particular point in time. So I really feel good about that. Using SOL data, 17 students need verified science SOLs. And so we had some students in science instruction last semester. Some of them did manage to cross over the hurdle, but we're still going to need to go back and look at that, look at some specific data, and then support those students based on the data that we got from the SOLs that they just took in December. 12 students need a history PDA, and so we have gotten better on that. I don't have that data just yet because I think there was still supposed to be some evaluations of those PBAs, or I just maybe just need to put my hands on it, but I do know that did get better. So I think for the cohort of 2025, all in all, the graduating class of 2025 looks great. We do have some work in 11th grade, 10th grade, and 9th grade. Great part about it is our 11th grade students, they seem to be very strong, 10th grade and 9th grade, but they still have some things that are missing. And so we have the teachers in place that are looking very, very intently and drilling down and getting the students what they need. So that pretty much concludes a lot of it other than the chronic absenteeism piece. In January, at the end of 2024, somewhere abouts, we were sitting somewhere around 29% chronic absenteeism. And through some of the concerted efforts of Mr. Simonton, Ms. Dutil, our guidance staff, school in general, we were able to decrease that. And so last I looked, we were somewhere around 17%. And so that 17% chronic absenteeism, you're at a level 1 if you're at 15. So we have a little bit more work to do to get that 15% or even lower. But we were able to do that work by having relationships, and the teachers mentored and started calling kids personally to say, hey, I noticed you wasn't in school today. And so those kinds of things, I believe will continue on and they'll make the difference. We also, for high school, we did something different. We had a ice cream social. I think Mr. Simonton mentioned it the other day. You'd be surprised how many older kids, 17 and 18-year-olds, were excited about getting ice cream. We thought that, it's like, okay, they'll say we're too cool for it. They enjoyed it. They had a good time with it. Whatever works, right? And so we had a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds smiling at us like, yeah, we got ice cream. Like, that's all it took. We were big giving you ice cream. So, but it's good. It's good. And so we'll continue along that track, and we'll continue to drill down and look at our data. And this group is going to be ready to go, and so is the rest of the students. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
Questions?
I just want to say prior to the test that Dr. Down will come to the board and talk a little bit about the new accreditation system, because it is very different, very much based on improvement, very controversial. So, in two of the conferences I've been in since the last meeting, legislators were getting ready to fight in June. Assembly actually over it. Because there are some ups and downs. But we'll talk to you about that and this new system. And there's a political side that's out as well. So she'll be bringing you that so the board can see exactly what we're going to be graded on.
All right, thank you very much for all your presentations. Next, we have the first reading of next school year's budget. Dr. Talley.
Thank you so much, and the board, again, thank you for your involvement in the process. This process started in November. We spent an entire month of November with the building principals, with their people, with the boosters, with parents, with anyone who wanted to have some type of input into the budget. We spent this process, just to give you a little history, inside of the building during the month of November. It was in December, then the delegations from the building came to the school board office to meet with the cabinet and myself during a process of a week to talk about what needs to be done. I want to thank Mrs. Kathy Carter and Ms. Nikhil Blackwell, the budget subcommittee, for coming over after we had sifted through some things and taking an even closer look at what we were proposing. And again, tonight what we want to do as the entire board, we want to look at those proposed things. Keep in mind, it's a working document. There's nothing that's finalized until the board passes the document. And so it is a working process. So you may ask questions as we go through. You may wait to the end. You may even let us get through it, and then next week, if you have questions, call, or you may come by. We're just at your disposal for whatever you need. Of course, our budget, again, is invested in the future of our community by investing in our children, which is our greatest resource, the young people that we have. Again, we have, car along. Somebody's on the key. Again, we have our mission statement, which is to create a safe and supportive learning environment that engages students in learning. Our core values are the same: integrity, academic excellence, diversity, equity, respect, family and community engagement, and of course, we're just here to serve. That's our purpose, to serve our young people and communities. Okay? Our annual division goals, which feed again into our 6-year plan, and we've been very consistent, again, to maintain academic excellence. Again, this is a consecutive year that, again, we've had accreditation. Again, to have safe, supportive schools, to reduce our discipline by 10%. Again, I think Arnold was one of the ones that mentioned that too, about keeping young people in schools. And of course, with everything that's going on now, again, I salute our staff, which is the greatest staff in the world, on doing what we can to keep our schools under control, yet at the same time to make sure they're safe and not dangerous. Family engagement, because we have several opportunities for parents to take part. Several family nights. The families could come over and take part in our school activities. And I want to thank our community because in almost every event that we have, be it a band concert or be it, again, dealing with whatever the subject matter is, plays, whatever, we have great support. People turn out. And I love that about our community. Parents will come and take a part in it. And even sometimes we have activities, parents that even engage in it. So it's a win-win for us. Primary revenue sources this year, we're looking at projected K-12 ADM of 1675 with about 110 preschool students, and our adult education program, which serves about 80 students. And again, I was asked the question this month, yes, that is free of cost. So a total enrollment of serving about 1,865 students. And this would basically give us an anticipated revenue increase of $43,000. Primary cost factors will be the second year. Keep in mind that the General Assembly budget is always biennial. And so it was a 3% raise last year. So this year there'll be another 3% raise plus step increase, which is a little over $636,000. And then also budgeted requests that we get from principals. We'll break that down, as well as central office staff. A little over $570,000, making a total of $1,206,000.
Yes, sir. This chart shows our revenue streams broken down by category. First is the local funds. Currently, we're funded at $5,542,637, so we're carrying that forward. Later, we'll add to that on the last slide of the budget component. In terms of categorical state funds and lottery funds, $18,834,911,000. That's a decrease of $65,649 over current year, and that's an impact that's seen because we've reduced our enrollment projection by 15 students. Current year is 1690. For next year, we put in 1675 and hope that'll hold. And that's for the average state membership count. State sales tax, another state revenue stream, that's showing an increase of $105,001. State grants will remain level. Those are consisted of $511,000 and a few dollars for preschool. There's $154,000 for PPSA funding, which helps fund technology projects and things of that nature. And those have been standardized in terms of amount. And for the second year of the biennium, the number of students funded at 66 for preschool is the same. Therefore, there's no change. Adult Ed, which is a regional program we participate in, there's a light increase there from, the GAE funding, General Adult Education funding is level, and the AID funding increased slightly, so it's $3,796 an increase so far. Recovered costs, those are reimbursements for things such as dual enrollment, Patrick Henry Community College, as well as E-rate funding, which is a federal reimbursement program for certain uses of technology. And that's $295,000, which is also level. It's a multi-year piece in the estimation. As you can see, that's a $43,148 increase above current year's budget, from $28,050,000 to $28,093,000 in anticipated revenues.
Thank you. So what we did is basically is the request of administrators and principals that, if you can have what you needed to make next year a success, what would you request? And here you can see the list. I'll just, again, glance at some new curriculum for Clearview, materials and supplies coming up to $38,000. Patrick Henry requested a special needs teacher, and basically that's the salary plus benefits such as Social Security, et cetera, insurance. Albert Harris requested a student with disabilities inclusion teacher, a resource, a paraprofessional, dean of students, a reading specialist, coming out at around $260,000. And again, this is a wish list. This is what we said. If you needed something to make next year successful, what would you request? The middle school reading specialist, EL teacher, and that group of students for us is growing rapidly. ELL students are contract adjustment, basically $175,000. At the high school, special education teacher, because that group probably, I would think, Dr. Tarflett has grown more than anybody else. So we're looking at possibly 2 new special needs teacher at the high school. And again, we don't take our special needs students and put them away. We want them to have inclusion and we educate them. And so, unlike other divisions, we try to house them on campus and educate them on campus. And then security officer, you know that we've been doing some things with metal detectors. And from the grants that Officer Slaughter, I still call him officer, has achieved for us, along with Mr. Clemens. Go ahead. Pupil personnel services of $5,000. Our human resource department requested $13,700. Technology is always changing. $65,000. Safety and security. We have some unique things, and it's always great to go to conferences and compare to the safety things that we have that we can talk about. We don't want to always be like the United States and tell everybody everything we're doing. But some of these things, like window armor, in terms of protection from shock, window film, keeping, people from outside looking inside. Maintenance, we need another full-time painter. Most of the people who painted, when you guys actually taught, or students are gone and retired. So that's a need also. Okay. So the cost of school requests, $743,000. Division level requests, $159,000, making a total request of almost $1 million. This is what everybody asked for. And so what do we do? Because that's a problem. Principals, administrators are asking for about $1 million increase. We don't have $1 million, and we really don't feel good going to city council asking for $1 million, which has been a while since we've asked for the money. So we have to decide what is it that we need after all the groups are presented. The cabinet sits down, and then of course after we sit down, the budget subcommittee comes in so that they can chime in. So go ahead.
These are additional needs. This is our capital improvement list. It's sorted it by site. First of all, we have, rather than reading down the list, let me just highlight some of the main things. So we still have some heavy needs for roof replacements, either partial or whole. The one we'd like to target first would be Clearview. It has the most significant leaks presently. Albert Harris has a few areas, not the entire thing, that needs to be replaced. Several buildings are going to lifespan in terms of a 20-year placement. Keep in mind that Patrick Henry was renovated between 2006 and 2007 when that roof was completed, so that one will come up due. We are currently, if you've driven by the high school, the lower atrium of the auditorium is being replaced currently. That will be the final piece of the high school. It was not completed during the renovation process during the 2010 renovation. Other significant needs, if you look through the list, target HVAC systems throughout the school system. We're able to complete about $1.5 million in upgrades and replacement components during the COVID 3 or 4 year span. However, we still are operating on an old boiler at the high school as a backup. We did recently have to use it. The other one was replaced during the renovation. We would like to replace that boiler at the high school. We bypassed the one here over the past year as we put in these split units, as you're actually using in this room as well. The barred units at Clearview and Patrick Henry our lifespan at this point in time at both sites. We are replacing those or repairing those as an individual unit goes out, so hopefully they will not go all out, several at one time. Otherwise, I think the list is fairly self-explanatory unless you need to explain anything specific on here. And at the bottom, there's also Sheila Williams' nutrition list.
And this does not include a new gym, which we're still about to accumulate some sketches for, and working with the city and also the committee, gym committee, and other outside groups. So this is just normal capital needs outside of that, which is still in the planning stage. So as you can see, I think we calculated one day in the cabinet, if we had about $3 million, we could catch up some of this work. And that's why, as I talk to you later about some of the conferences we were in with delegates from the General Assembly, with a $4 billion surplus, that's why we feel that Commonwealth of Virginia should be spending more money on our buildings. And I'm talking about a surplus after the bills have been paid. That's that much money available in the Commonwealth of Virginia for school construction or anything else. And we'll continue to advocate for that. Somebody has to say that. But at our conferences, we have to, unless we become a forgotten entity, public schools have to advocate for this money. And we're going to do that to the end.
Yeah, remind everyone that in the previous biennium, we did receive $1.5 million. It's the first time in my career that we received an allocation like that through the state. And of course, we used that to primarily target our roofs at that time. If we could get another 1.5, which is pretty close to catching up our current needs with regards to roof replacements. And then we already have some quotes regarding HVAC and control systems in terms of upgrading easily 1.5 to 2 million more in there. So there goes, as far as that came up with the $3 to $3.5 million for those essentials.
And thank you, because again, as of right now, we're not hearing that we're going to get any more. And it would be a tragedy to me, especially with our buildings as old as they are. So we're going to advocate for that. We continue to talk to our legislators. We continue to go to the General Assembly. We continue to be in these forums and speak out, because it has to happen.
And the other component of that would be transportation needs. So at this time, let's say we have approximately 30 buses that we're operating routes with, and only 8 of those are under the 15-year recycle replacement cycle. And although we are slated to receive our 5 EPA-funded electric buses this spring, and if you drive around the backside of the vocational building, you'll see that the 5 charging units have already been installed and ready to go.
I want to thank the city for assisting us with that. So we'll have 5 electronic buses, which is great. Thank you. Okay. Again, so what can we do? We can simply ask the board to grant us $1 million, or we can take this down and pull out the most essential things by committee, and then let the subcommittee look at that. And so it goes through 2 processes, one with the cabinet, and then with the budget subcommittee, and now back to you to look at it. So we decided on a reading specialist for Albert Harris, a contract adjustment for MMS, and those are guidance counselors. I'm looking for the state, though, this year to send us further additional money for guidance counselors. Mental health has become quite a problem. And see Dr. World shaking his head. It really is. And of course, coaches, you guys are in that field too now. But it's a big need. And I'm hoping that we will get some money for that to ensure, again, that guidance counselors have more time with students. I mean, that's important. They call guidance counselors, but sometimes we have them everywhere else instead of the 80% of the time that they just need to talk to kids. And so that's just powerful. 2 special ed teachers, special need teachers at Martinsville High School. We're going to be driven there by the numbers. there's not gonna be a choice. Again, we're looking at things that we don't really have a choice about. Technology software, of course, we'll need that. Human resource software, people, personnel, things, board certified behavioral analysts. We're looking for specialists in terms of behavioral science and student behavior. And Dr. Top is working with us on that. A social worker. We have students with needs that go outside of school. Shelter. We have, I think it's large. To me, if I got one family that's homeless, it's large. But we're having a growing group, safe to say, of homeless students. We've got to attend to it. State law says they can attend school anywhere they want to when you're homeless. And we have some stories. If you'd like to sit down sometime and listen, we have some stories here in Martinsville. An EDL teacher for $80,000. So basically, we cut the $1 million down to $570,000 for requests. Any questions? All right. Mr. Clemens?
All right, earlier we showed you a snapshot of how we derived our revenue estimate. This is our expenditure estimate from the general fund. And this is also broken out by state category specifically. Keep in mind, most of this variance is due to the 3% increase in the salaries across the board. We applied that equally among all staff. And some other generated funds, mainly through at-risk funding through the state. So the big increases came throughout the vein. As you recall, we went through this earlier in the fall with regards to a little over $2 million in additional funds from the state for at-risk and the local required match component as well. Here you'll see that we're anticipating an increase in instructional spending of $412,000, instructional technology of $225,000, total increase of $638,000 across the instruction department. General administration, $21,000 increase in the attendance and health categories, $33,000 increase for a total of $54,000 across the administrative set. In transportation, the $42,000 increase. The maintenance and operations and school safety, that's $145,000, and for a total increase of $880,000. And this does include each of the items that we listed on the previous page that we included. All right. So for a total budget on the expense side, estimated at $28,929,625. Come on, too, as we'll show that in a minute, but that is a difference from the revenue expectation.
So, a budget request, basically we anticipate a little over $28 million. Expenditures, $28,929,000. So you're looking at a difference when you subtract them of $836,204. That's the difference in what we need. Anticipated funds, state entitlement, a little over $22 million. Local funds, original local funds from last year, $5,542,000. And then other funds, grants and other things, a little over $354,000. Making a total, a little again, over $28 million. Then, if you remember last year, we received $5,542,000, but we're about $650,000 short, which we went back to City Council and they granted that. So basically, we ended up with $6,192,000. So our new acts and new request this year is that again we get that the same amount again as last year. Nothing's changed. Plus our new request of $186,204 in new money. So we've gone from basically $900,000 down to $186,000 in new funds. Okay. Again, this is some of my favorite slides, about 4 or 5 of them. And I told Angela to continue to pile it on because I remember where we were 8 years ago. But all of these things, our journey coming to our schools, first of all, being accredited because kids deserve to be in accredited schools. We don't want a situation like other divisions, and we're not throwing shade where the schools are not accredited. All are, and we want to keep that way. 75% of them have triennial accreditation for 3 years. So we're very proud of it with our demographics and our poverty level. We're very proud. Go ahead. And again, some of the accomplishments, we could just go on. 1 of 4 divisions in the state with universal screening. We've been recognized by the Dan River Basin in 2 of our elementary schools. I was just in Dallas, and again, Martinsville Middle School has still been recognized and was mentioned in Dallas as a national avid showcase school, being on the national list. Martinsville High School just received the state exemplar award. Again, the award's gone, and I tell our people, don't get bored with them. Let them keep coming, because some school divisions aren't getting in. And so it never bothers me to go through the list. I'll stay here all night and talk about the great things that this great staff and our smart students do. It's amazing to me. Go ahead. Again, CTE program is partnered with Uptown Business. I thought that was one of my fun days of the year when we went uptown with kids showcasing and going through businesses, the 2 student businesses that we've opened. Just excited about our STEM program and what we're doing. Robotics, every year, sending teams to state. Just great things. And if your children are involved, you know how excited they are about our STEM and robotics program. Okay? And again, we continue. Like I said, I have a long list, and we can do more. This is not all of it. But again, we received a national recognition for our webpage, thanks to Callan and others that work with that. Presidential Math and Science Awards, again, recognized by Bass for our AI Visionary program, which is top notch. Had the opportunity to be with 2 gentlemen, Tyler and Carrie, doing some presentations for Bass. And those guys are just some of the best in the country. Spent some time with them in AI, and it's amazing. Of course, we work with UVA, even though we graduated from Tech. We're doing a lot of work on the superintendent's advisory committee up at UVA with the people there, and we don't mind. It's all good there. I hope it's there. But again, on the forefront of some of the educational things that are happening across the country. Go ahead. And again, we continue to host regional robotics, which will be bigger once we build the gym. I'm excited about that. Even excited about Callie's hat, which is off the chain. Really, not going to wear that hat. Squid Squad, I want to thank everybody who joined those and came by. Fun day to have other schools here in Martinsville working. Go ahead. And again, along with the Your Own program, I'm excited because we are hiring back people who graduated from here. And that's been one of my goals. And we're going to try to put together a story to account of how many teachers we currently have now who graduated, who are alumni, because that's a big draw to me, that our students can leave here and come back here and work and give back. And I think that's just powerful. It says a lot about any school division when your students are willing to come back. Go ahead. So we're excited. We're accredited. 75% of our schools have triennial accreditation. We know it's a new bar now. We're going to meet that challenge. We're not fleeing. I talked at the DLT this morning about to our principals and administrators that we're not going to go into with fear or anything because it's different and new. We're going to meet challenge. That's what we do. We meet challenges. And I think we have to show that to our students, that we don't back down. We meet challenges. We're going to be successful and very positive about it. So we're requesting a total of $186,204 to continue our journey of excellence. Any questions?
thank you for your presentations and all your hard work for everybody. I appreciate it. I'm sure we're gonna have questions that we can either reach out to Mr. Clemens or yourself as we go through. And I'm sure we'll be asking away.
And we'll have our public hearing on the 27th. So don't forget that. If you think more things or questions, then as you look over the document, you can, request again, or you can come by or call or just whatever you need. Okay, as you look at it and reflect on it, let us know.
And again, to the audience, you all are all welcome to come to the public hearing
Absolutely.
and share your thoughts about things that we need to include or not include or whatever. All right, moving to the consent agenda. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from the December 2024 meeting, as well as the financial report that was presented at the end of December 31st, 2024. May I have a motion? Okay. Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right, superintendent's report.
Okay, I have a couple of things, a couple of conferences that we've gone to, Abbott, and particularly the Superintendent State Conference. Just a couple of things. AI, again, and we're glad we're on the cutting edge of some of that, is going to be very much a effort to push that across the state. In UVA Superintendent's meeting, we talked about mental health for teachers and administrators. Teachers and administrators are asked to do more now than we've ever been asked to do before. And we talked about comp days and allowing some of the work days to be days that are duty-free days. So teachers and administrators exactly can have time to reflect and deal with some of the mental challenges. The pandemic, as one of our Brett Bowers talked about, has taught us that people are tired of doing the same thing. Teaching has to be different now. We have to use a variety of methods and techniques, and more importantly, show students that there's a connection actually between what we're teaching and what they need it for. Because we've all, as a teacher, heard students say, "Why do I need this?" And we're going to have to be a lot more focused on making connections between real experiences and what we're actually teaching. Again, because of political divisions in our nation, we're going to have to learn as a country and as a division also how to work with all groups. There's not going to be any more cookie cutter education. There are going to be different groups with different requests. And as educators, we're going to have to be flexible. A vast difference between students with a high school education now and collegiate education. Studies have found that a student with a college education will make over a lifetime $900,000 more than a student who just simply comes out of high school. So we need to push students, if they don't, and this includes, by the way, CTE. It's not just collegiate. It includes having a trade, starting a business. At the governor's conference, the governors made some requests, especially after dealing with ESSA funds, which went back to the federal government. Again, as I stated, there's a $4 billion surplus in the budget. And right now, the political parties are fighting over whether to give a tax rebate to everyone in a manner of about $200, which is what it comes out to, or whether to take millions of those dollars and give it to schools. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another gridlock this summer when we're trying to issue contracts and do other things over that, because I think everybody's trying to make a political point. The JLOC study, which is the joint study on education, has suggested that some of the surplus, that an additional 1% be given to teacher raises, which would make it 4%, and then an additional one-time bonus of 1% be given to all school employees. So that's what they're suggesting, and so look for a big fight on there. There are gonna be several legal topics that are gonna come up. Title IX, having equal access for males and females in schools, transgender students, overtime pay for teachers. These are legislative things that are coming up. The E-rate, which we always look at every year. Some of the governor's thinking about abolishing or trying to abolish that. And that pays for computer access for high school, public high schools. And that's the other debate about vouchers in public schools. Other things that we looked at or talked about, we talked in our DOT about the new standards this morning. Principals talked about the progress where they were. I think you got a good overview of that tonight. Region 6, we talked about reshuffling of the region and enrollment. It looks like they're tending to be an enrollment ship in almost every region there where people are moving throughout the state. And that's why we want a refunding formula change, because if you look at Northern Virginia, a lot of the wealth and the population is up near Fairfax and it's near Washington. And we think that the districts in Southwest and South Side and Southeast need to be more comparable. So we've been spending a lot of time with legislatures this past month, advocating and launching, because if you don't speak up, if you don't call people, if you don't press people, your needs don't get met. And so that's just a few of the things that we've been doing.
Okay, thank you very much. Matters from the board. Mrs. Carter, do you have anything? Ms. Blackwell? Mr. Jones?
Okay.
Mr. Williamson?
I do not.
My only comment is I hope everyone had a nice winter break and Happy New Year. I know that we got a couple of extra days there on the end of break, so I hope that was nice and gave you a little extra rest as well. I do want us to be cautious and be mindful of the fact that sometimes you may think you don't understand, and this goes to the parents at home too, why we aren't in school today or why we're not doing this, that, or the other. We do have to look at the big picture. We have to think about the safety of all of our students, but also our staff. A lot of them travel from out of town, and they may or may not be able to get here as easily, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe upon their arrival. So sometimes I think we're all quick to say, oh, well, the kids could have gone to school, we could have done this or that, but there are larger pictures. I understand part of our city did not have water over the weekend. And I saw where the mayor and other councilmen and one of the local businesses were kind enough to go out and give soup and water and things so that those folks had some hot things over the weekend. So there's a lot more going on in our community than we always just know, sitting there doing our armchair quarterbacking from home. I also want to give a shout out to Ms. Hines for hosting the Chamber's Business After Hours later on this month. First of all, they have trouble getting businesses always to volunteer to do that. So thank you as a student-run organization, as well as with your help, for offering to host that. So thank you very much. Reminder of dates. We have a school holiday on Monday, next Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. At the week after that, January 27th, we will have our second public hearing for the budget. Again, I encourage folks to come out and share their thoughts and concerns that evening. Then on February 10th, we have our next regular school board meeting. Do we have any unregistered citizens who would like to make comments? Please come forward. If you'll state your name, your address, and then I believe we have a little part. Do we do the reading, or Ms. Smith, or does someone from your side do that? I'm sorry. I told you I was trying to roll along.
You need to state your name and your address of record.
Chelsea Prince, 125 Salmon Street, Martinsville, Virginia, 241.
Okay. The next couple bullet points, I'm just gonna read in order, okay? You need to state the matter that you wish to discuss and what action you'd like for the board to take. And refrain from making any personal references or accusations of a factually false or malicious nature.
I'd like to discuss the replacement of the playground at Patrick Henry Elementary School, and we're asking for assistance in funding that. Okay, so again, my name is Chelsea Cruz. I've been the president of the PTO at Patrick Henry Elementary for the last 3 years. This is Rita. She's my treasurer. We've been working together for several years to try and make these things happen. So at the end of the last year, we were made aware that the playground needed to be replaced and repaired. As it stands right now, with the current playground, we've got slides that are cracked. There's areas that are blocked off with foam boards just because like there's sections that are actually missing. So they've been blocked off for safety reasons. There are like holes in different areas where the game sections have actually had to be removed. So there's just things there with nothing for them to play with. Like the little rocking horses and things, those have been removed in the trash can over those holes and stuff for, again, safety reasons. We do have one picnic table that's actually in poor condition. It's one of the wood ones that's been out there. So as far as seating goes, it's very limited. And then there's no shading. So on really hot days and things during the school year, it can be hard on some students. So again, at the end of last year, we were made aware of those needs, and based off of the different fundraisers and donations, the PTO was able to raise $8,172.55, which we were really proud of. Starting with so far this year, just for the fall of this year, we're looking at just from the fundraiser portion is $3,447.89. Donations have been $1,125. And then in September, the Ruritan Club sent out letters for us asking, for donation towards it. So total this year, just in the first half of the year, we've raised $5,723.14. So all of that being said, what we're looking at in terms of replacing the playground, the seating, and actually having shading, it comes to about $192,000. And that does not include the installation. So with what we've totaled, between last year and this year, we've raised $13,895.69, which leaves us with still needing a little over $178,000. Now, keeping the same trajectory, of what we're doing of around $13,000, assuming we can come up with another 8 for the spring like we did for last year, it would take us about 14, 15 years if we were to try and continue to do this on our own, and with the conditions, we're running out of options. As far as Ms. Cooper and I went over the summer and met with the Harvest Foundation, asking to see if there was any grants or anything like that that would be available to us. The problem, though, that we're running into, not only with them, but also any other private grant option that we've reached out to, has been that they won't provide to schools. And that's because those funds, they say, are supposed to come from the state and, and other resources. So we're trying to pull and talk to whoever we can in terms of what funds we can get, what we may have access to and things, and we just kind of keep hitting a wall. So any assistance that can be provided by you guys.
I talked with some school for Thursday, Mr. Clemens Thursday, and put a pathway to get this done. Well, of course, no one's really seen because of the weather or whatever. But I want to thank you and your group, working with Patrick Henry's Booster Club myself for years, and doing pancakes and all the fun things. I want to thank the energetic parents for working hard to get this done.
Yeah.
But I think we have a pathway now to resolve this. And Travis and I also will be meeting with the city manager Thursday.
Okay, great.
And so that will also be on the agenda. But if Ms. Cooper wants to share with you, I'll be glad to talk with you. Travis will be glad to talk with you about what we envision to resolve some of it.
Okay.
And again, thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, and again, too, thank you for all the parents and everybody in the
Yes.
community. Like you said, there have been a lot of people within the community too who have sent in donations and stuff. I mean, we just, as the PTO, we can't do any of what we do without the support of our parents and our community. So, thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I think we've all volunteered. I know as parents, we've all been a part of all of our booster clubs over the years, so I do know what a hard job that is and how hard it is to raise money, and so we do appreciate it. We'll be asking Dr. Talley to share with us what the plan is and how we can resolve this, because by all means, we want the children to have a way to get their wiggles out so they can go back in and
Right.
hit those tests hard.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Communications, Ms. Smith, do we have any this evening? Okay. All right. Closed session.
Pursuant to section 2.2, 3711A, the Code of Virginia, I move to the board convene in closed session for the purpose of discussing the following specific matters: discussion and consideration of the evaluation, employment, assignment, and reassignment of employees of Martinsville City Public Schools as authorized by section 2.2, 3711A1 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act.
All right, moving to closed session, drive safely.